and Laura brought me, thank goodness. And I'm looking at it, and everything in it I have heard on Fox News. And they've been saying the same thing that's in this memo.
Right.
But you don't hear that from MSNBC or from CNN. So what's their motivation? What makes CNN and MSNBC, what makes them say what they say? And you hit the nail on the head. It's emotional hysteria that you hear from CNN and MSNBC. It has nothing to do with the truth.
Well, at least CNN has had some good Republican congressmen like Jim Jordan, Trey Gowdy, and a fellow by the name of Stewart, and he just undressed those CNN talk show hosts. He just undressed them, giving such strong rationale for what has transpired. But the problem is, they go back to their pin-headed panel, and they are all they're all clueless and tone deaf. So at least CNN has given the other side from time to time, but MSNBC has just been horrible, and it really has.
Well, what really puts things in perspective, you watch these panel discussions, and every one of them has a conservative who can't get a word in edgeways, and they've got a liberal who will not shut up. They talk louder and longer, and they filibuster and try to dominate the entire discussion. What put that in perspective is when I watched a panel discussion called The Wise Guys. It was on Sunday, was when I was in the hospital. It was on Sunday evening on Fox News, and the panel discussion was Steve Wynn, Bill Bennett, Ollie North, Alan Dershowitz, and I forgot his last name.
Gary Fleischer.
Yes, but they each took their turns speaking, and they were very polite. They were calm, collected, stated the facts and figures. No loud talking, no interrupting, no rude behavior. Most of these channel discussions, or panel discussions, I should say, they involve at least one or two liberals that are very rude, very interruptive, and that I hate to see that. I get tired of that real quick.
Yeah.
So
well, you got to give credit to Dershowitz. He's a liberal, but he's been very fair-minded and objective in stating that there's been no real case for obstruction against Trump, and there's been no evidence, of course, of collusion after a year's worth of investigation. So I guess what we're saying is that the Democrats and their friends in the liberal media are terrified that there's nothing that's going to be found as far as collusion. So they're trying to manufacture a case on obstruction,
well,
and so that's where they're really desperate and terrified that this memo and others that will come out, not to mention the IG report, it's going to blow them out of the water.
Well, when I see someone that is scared to death, I have to ask the question, what are you scared of? Is there somebody pointing a gun at you? Is there a rattlesnake down at your feet? What are you scared of?
Right.
That's a logical question for me to ask. What are you so afraid of?
Yeah.
And I asked the question about the Democrats right now. What are you so deathly afraid of that's going to come out in these memos or in this investigation of the FBI and the DOJ? What are you so afraid of? Now,
sure.
Isn't that a logical question to ask?
Yeah, and they're usually wanting transparency. No agency in the government is beyond reproach. They all have to fall under congressional oversight. The people that you and I elected, like Mr. Carter here locally, that's their job to oversee all the government agencies, no matter who they are and where they are. And
we didn't send them up there to just hand out money to everybody that wants it. That's not why we send them up there.
That's right.
But some of them, that's kind of what they think their job is to just fund whatever somebody wants, especially if it might generate another Democrat voter. So it's why it's like the school board. Somebody said he served on a school board, and they told him that your job as a school board member is to give the superintendent everything they request.
Rubber stamp.
Yeah, just rubber stamp. Whatever. If they want a $1.5 million bond issue, give it to them. If they want a $100 million bond issue, give them that. Whatever they want, give it to them. Well, why on earth do we have school board members if they're there to serve the superintendent only and not serve the public that voted them into office?
Right.
Did they forget who put them up there? Our congressmen, they talk a good game here in Bell County or Williamson County or Milam County, wherever, but what do they do when they get to Washington, D.C.? That's what I'm saying. During the primary season, why don't we, the voting public, look at who bought them, in other words, who gave the most campaign contributions, and what did they vote for? If somebody gives them a huge campaign donation and then they vote for what that man wants, that guy owns them.
That's right. Yeah.
It's like Hillary Clinton. Those people that gave her hundreds of millions of dollars, they own her. And likewise, what did she do with the money? Why is it she's not being prosecuted? Who does she own?
Well, they're working on that with Uranium One, and all the stuff that led up to Uranium One, and that's going to be another investigation that's being looked at. So she's not off the hook yet.
No, she's not. But what's taking so long? We don't know who she owns or has scared. But I think a lot of those congressmen and DOJ officials, FBI officials, whatever, maybe they live in a glass house and they don't want to throw any rocks. So maybe that's why she's not in jail.
Yeah.
I think she learned from the mafia years ago. If you can't buy them off, scare them off. Yeah, I think that's what Hillary does.
Well, they used a double standard when they investigated her on those emails. They gave her a pass, and Loretta Lynch said, "Don't call it an investigation, call it a pass." They changed the memo, the draft exoneration letter, from gross negligence to extremely careless, and then they drafted that letter 3 months before they interviewed her.
Well, but if you look at the actions of Barack Obama, what was the first thing he said? He said, "I want to fundamentally change America." That's the first thing he said, and he set out to do that. And then if you look at some of the actions of Barack Obama and Eric Holder and Loretta Lynch and Lois Lerner, and I mean, if that don't scare you, damn, you're hard to scare, is all I got to say. Because those actions sure scare me, because I look at, where does this road go that we're traveling?
Well,
I don't want to go there.
Yeah, the DOJ under Obama was the most politicized DOJ in recent memory. And with Eric Holder and politicizing and persecuting police departments throughout the nation, like what occurred, from throughout the area. He was persecuting a lot of these police forces who did need a little of improvement, but still.
But at the same time they were doing that, they were giving guns to the drug cartel in Mexico.
Oh yeah, the Fast and Furious.
I thought that was our enemy.
Yeah.
When you aid and abet the enemy, they used to call that treason.
That's right.
Look at Iraq. He pulled all the troops out of Iraq and donated all of the military equipment to ISIS.
That's right.
Turn the news on and you watch when you see a Abrams tank or a Humvee coming down the road with a black ISIS flag flying it. Where'd that equipment come from? Barack Obama gave it to them. That's where it came from.
Yeah, they lost a lot of equipment.
Isn't that aiding and abetting the enemy?
It sure is.
I really thank you for your call. It's been a good conversation. Call back sometime.
I sure will. I sure will, sir. And you enjoy the weekend.
Well, you too. And y'all be careful out there.
I sure will. Take care.
I think we got to go to break again, folks. So hang in there. We'll be right back. Let's talk about communication systems. Fulkerson Communications, they are a leader in the communications industry. Fulkerson Communications brings over 40 years of experience to provide reliable and cost-effective solutions for all of your telecommunication needs. They offer consultation, design, sales, installation, and implementation of service of phone systems and specialty applications, as well as network solutions, phone systems, IP setup, and structured cable, voice over internet protocol technology to small and large business. Now, all of you know that I'm not very savvy in the high-tech world, so I'm doing the best I can. So I have no idea what I just described to you, but I do know these people will do you right, and they are there for you and for the long haul if you need them. Their service area covers most of Central Texas and part of the Hill. Their phone number in Temple is 254-742-0064, and in Killeen, it's 254-698-0016. That's 698-0016 in Killeen. Call them out there and talk to them. Now, you might get Dana. Now, I know her pretty well, and whatever she tells you, that's the way it is. So give them a holler and see if they folks, let's talk a little bit about Goodwin Farm and Ranch Supply. The Goodwins are just a nice family that have raised their kids to be impressive, outstanding, patriotic young adults. It was truly a pleasure to have an intelligent conversation with an educated young person. That's their 19-year-old son out. Their family own and operate 2 feed stores. One in Moody. It's at 108th Street there in Moody, and that phone number is 254-853-8039. The second one is here in Temple out in the industrial. It's in Temple at 3600 Range Road. That's 3600 Range Road, just off of Loop 363. And that phone number is 254-773-8840. Now, they carry a wide variety of feed, different kind of brands to choose from for your equine, I guess that's horses, livestock, wildlife, and pet needs, as well as traditional farm and ranch supply. So they got the feed. Just go by there and tell them what you need, and they'll try to get it for you. Both stores are open Monday through Friday, 8 until 6 p.m., and Saturdays, 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. Their website, if you need it, is www.goodwinfarmandranch.com. That's www.goodwinfarmandranch.com. And Laura brought me, thank goodness, and I'm looking at it, and everything in it I have heard on Fox News. And they've been saying the same thing that's in this memo.
Right.
But you don't hear that from MSNBC or from CNN. So what's their motivation? What makes CNN and MSNBC, what makes them say what they say? And you hit the nail on the head. It's emotional hysteria that you hear from CNN and MSNBC. It has nothing to do with the truth. Well,
at least CNN has had some good Republican congressmen like Jim Jordan, Trey Gowdy, and a fellow by the name of Stewart, and he just undressed those CNN talk show hosts. He just undressed them, giving such strong rationale for what has transpired. But the problem is, they go back to their pin-headed panel, and they are all they're all clueless and tone deaf. So at least CNN has given the other side from time to time, but MSNBC has just been horrible, and it really has.
Well, what really puts things in perspective. You watch these panel discussions, and every one of them has a conservative who can't get a word in edgeways, and they've got a liberal who will not shut up. They talk louder and longer, and they filibuster and try to dominate the entire discussion. What put that in perspective is when I watched a panel discussion called the Wise Guys. It was on Sunday, was when I was in the hospital. It was on Sunday evening on Fox News, and the panel discussion was Steve Wynn, Bill Bennett, Ollie North, Alan Dershowitz, and I forgot his last name.
Gary Fleischer.
Yes, but they each took their turns speaking, and they were very polite. They were calm, collected, stated the facts and figures. No loud talking, no interrupting, no rude behavior. Now, most of these channel discussions, or panel discussions, I should say, they involve at least one or two liberals that are very rude, very interruptive, and that I hate to see that. I get tired of that real quick.
Yeah.
So
well, you got to give credit to Dershowitz. He's a liberal, but he's been very fair-minded and objective in stating that there's been no real case for obstruction against Trump, and there's been no evidence, of course, of collusion after a year's worth of investigation. So I guess what we're saying is that the Democrats and their friends in the liberal media are terrified that there's nothing that's going to be found as far as collusion. So they're trying to manufacture a case on obstruction.
Well,
and
I think that's a very fair statement. But I guess I'd repeat what I've been saying. If Jeff Sessions doesn't do something about Hillary Clinton and all of this kind of stuff, do they have something on him? Have they bought him off, or have they scared him off? And I hate to say that, but when public officials don't do their job, why? Why is that? Like I say, in the 1920s and 30s, nobody went after James Hoffa with the mafia. They left him alone. They left him alone because he owned the chief of police, the judges, the policemen, etc. He owned them. He either owned them or he scared them. But the results are the same. So when we see public officials not doing their job, for example, Hillary Clinton, look at all the things she did with the server and all that kind of stuff. Obvious violations of the law. She's never been challenged over it. No one has ever tried to indict her or take her before a grand jury. Why is that? If you and I did 1/100th of what she has done, we'd be up here talking to a grand jury, and they'd be putting us on trial, and they'd be trying to put us in jail. Well, is there a dual system of justice? Are there two different kinds of law in this country? Do we live under one set of laws, and Hillary and Loretta Lynch and the rest of that bunch, are they exempt from the law? Well, apparently they are. I think we got another call that's going to tell me all about this. Yes, caller, go ahead.
Hey, how you doing, Conn? This is Cal.
Well, I was just talking about you.
I know. I heard you. I said, let me get in here and say something. And so I was talking to Tina earlier this morning on the phone, and I told her, yeah, I think I'm probably over this flu. I'm doing better, and no sooner than I said that, about 11 o'clock, oh, my gosh, I got hit with chills and fever and dry heaves again.
Oh, my goodness.
So maybe I should keep my mouth shut. Don't say anything at all. But I was just listening. Yeah, the memo, they're so scared. The demos or whatever, are so scared of this going any further. This is supposed to be phase one. And they're trying to do everything they can stop it because there's a lot that the public doesn't know about. It's been wrapped up. It's been corruption at the top. It's not the total FBI, but certain people at certain places have done things to manipulate the government and to manipulate where they were actually coming down. We got to get Trump out. We got to get him out. Now, if anybody had listened to his State of the Union address, it was awesome. It was magnificent. I'm looking at the computer here right now. CNN, one day ago, Trump lied about his State of the Union. All kinds of things that have come down on him about his State of the Union. And he didn't say this, and he didn't say that. That was a magnificent State of the Union address.
Yes, it was.
And I thought did you contact him about vocational schools? Because that was a part of it.
Well,
maybe he said that we needed more vocational schools. And, he mentioned about a person I guess he was in high school with that wasn't too bright, but this guy, you could blindfold him and he could put an engine together.
Maybe Trump's listening to the Common Sense with Conn show.
He might be. I don't know. He might be streaming it and stuff. But I thought of you the minute he said that. I said, that's exactly what you've been saying. More vocational schools, because everybody don't need to go to college.
No.
Unless you're going to go on beyond that. That's what I told my daughters. I said, if you find something at this level and stuff, just go ahead after you get out of high school. But if you're going to go to college, you're going to have to go on and on, to get a master's or a doctorate or something like that and stuff. But with all these new jobs coming back in to the United States, you're going to need people that know how to do those, and they pay good,
Well, and what there's a shortage of is anybody that will work. You know, whether it's a truck driver or a carpenter or a welder, go find one. You can't find one that'll go to work because they're already working.
There you go.
And there's not any of them sitting around drawing unemployment. They're out there on the job because there's more jobs than there are people to do them.
And they need to go ahead and, I agree, these vocational schools will help. And you can find out, like I said before, you can find out early what that child really has an interest in.
Yes.
So go ahead. But getting back to the memo, they all over that's the Democratic and the far left. David Nunes, all he did was what he was supposed to do.
Yes.
Okay, as the House Intelligence Committee chairman, he had a right to do what he was doing.
He had an obligation to do what he was doing. Absolutely.
And I don't understand, the Dems want to slam it. You got people, I looked at my, what was it, tax or something like that from my retirement check. And sure enough, it's less this month. To start, I was going to ask that how many some of your callers call in, and could they testify to getting a pay raise, or could they testify that their tax deduction has been less or such? That's what mine was, and such. They got the tax bill passed, and it's awesome. I think they say over 90% of the people will see more money in their paycheck. And when you got somebody like Nancy Pelosi saying they're crumbs, that's because she's a billionaire. She's, a millionaire rather. I think it's 49 million is her assets or something like that.
Yeah, my question, Cal, is who is it that listens to Nancy Pelosi and agrees with her? She talks like she's got a mental problem, and I seriously question if she does or not.
I think it's Parkinson's.
Her and Maxine Waters and people like that.
Yeah.
Do you think you're listening to a highly intelligent, smart, honest individual? No. What would it take for us to figure out what these people are?
I have no idea. They and Chuck Schumer, when he was sitting there at the State of the Union address, and he with this little smirk on his face, and it was a disgrace for when they said that some of these people that stood up, the black family who lost their two daughters to MS-13?
Yeah,
and
MS-13.
Yeah, and they didn't stand up. I mean, not even, to show recognition to these people. The Democratic side, when they showed the picture, some of them, you saw a little clap. But, when they say we got the lowest unemployment in blacks and Hispanics ever, this is an achievement. But it's like they were there, and I'm just going to, all right. But that's being so disrespectful.
Well, Cal, you know why you're on this radio right now? Because I respect what you have to say. You're speaking intelligently with facts and figures, and you're making sense, and that's why you're on this radio. So, what kind of mentality does it take to listen to Nancy Pelosi and Maxine Waters and Chuck Schumer? Where's your brain when you listen to that?
There's some people that are just going to follow them, regardless.
And why would you?
John Lewis. And I know there's some people out there, and they're probably black, most likely, that are saying, well, why is he talking like that? And stuff. But I'm going to just tell you the truth. There are, you talk about racist and stuff, there are black people that are racist against black people.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. I'm going to just tell you, and I've been there. So what you got to look at is what I said in the beginning, a long time ago. What is an interest to you should be your finances, your security, and your health. And what Donald Trump is trying to do is put more money in your pocket. Now, they can argue politically and everything. I just saw on here on CNN, not CNN, Fox. I don't even bother with CNN no more.
No, me either.
I've deleted MSNBC. But Fox, they just said Hezbollah, that Donald Trump has signed sanctions against them. And he's saying to these countries that don't support us or doing wrong, we're going to cut we've been giving foreign aid to them. We're going to cut it.
Why would anyone not agree with that, Cal?
I don't understand that. That's more money. I don't worry about, and the Dems, they talk about, with this tax thing, it's going to be $1 trillion. Okay, it's going to be more than $1 trillion. Where are we going to get it from? He knows where he's going to get it from.
Yeah, and one place might be quit giving money to Hezbollah and
all
the
these
Palestinians.
Other places.
People that hate our guts.
When they voted against him, it's nobody else's business if we say we want to move our embassy to Jerusalem.
Yeah.
And these people voted against it. It ain't going to change anything because Mike Pence has already said it'll be finished by next year and stuff. So
look at what we give to the Palestinians. We give them $300 million a year. They use $100 million a year to reward the families of suicide anarchists, whatever you want to call them. So why are we giving them money to reward people to kill Jews and innocent people? Why on earth are we doing that?
Well, that's what, I don't know how the past administration allowed that to happen. But we basically know why. Each of us has our opinions on that.
Yeah.
But it should have been stopped a long time ago.
Cal, my producer is holding fingers up in the air and telling me I got to go to break. So.
All right, then. You take care.
Hey, we thank you for the call, and you be careful up there. Don't.
Yeah, I got to get well.
You do, because you got to get back up here on this radio station.
Okay. Take care now. Have a good weekend.
Okay. Thank you, Cal. Okay, folks, let's talk a little bit about Jack Hilliard Materials. They're out there at 12495 Reed Lake Loop in Temple. That's out there just past Academy. They handle all kind of rocks, big rocks, little rocks, gravel, road base, pea gravel, sand, whatever it is you need, they got it out there. Give old Hector a call at 254-982-4122. That's 982-4122. And also now they have dozers and excavators, and they can build you a stock pond or a road or whatever it is you want to build. And they got all kind of rocks to put on top of it when they get through. Give old Hector a call out there at 982-4122. Okay, folks, if you have an American flag outside your business, this show is an excellent choice for your advertising dollar. If your core beliefs are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, this show is an excellent choice for your advertising dollar. If you merely want to build a good, wholesome customer base, this show is an excellent choice for your advertising dollar. If you decide you want to advertise on this show and get some of those good customers, the advertising dollar working for you will give us a call at 254-300-1885. That's 300-1885. And we'll get you set up and going. Okay, folks, let's talk about some cow feed and horse feed and stuff like that. Temple and Belton Feed and Supply. It's a family-owned, operated feed store for 30 years, serving in Bell County, farmers, ranchers, pet owners, and hunters. Both stores offer a wide variety of feed brands and supplies for your farm stock, show animals, livestock, pets, including your spoiled chickens and wild bird lovers. They have a horse tack, feeding products, toys, jewelry, Western wear, you name it and they got it. Hunters, they have your camouflage gear, deer feeders, blinds and stands, and the best protein feed for harvesting those great big old bucks that you want to put on your wall when you get home. Also now, I sure do like to feed that Winland horse and mule feed to my horse. When I give him that, he thinks he died and went to heaven. They're just good people over there. I've been buying feed there for a long time. Anyway, if you're in Temple, stop by and pick up what you need at 305 South 2nd Street. That's 305 South 2nd Street. Their phone number out there is 254-778-7975. That's 778-7975. In Belton now, if you're down there in Belton, if it's closer to you, you'll find them at 410 East 2nd Street. That's 410 East 2nd Avenue, Or if you call them at 939-3636, they'll help you out there. Their website is templebeltonfeed.com. templebeltonfeed.com. Lee and Laura brought me, thank goodness. And I'm looking at it, and everything in it I have heard on Fox News. And they've been saying the same thing that's in this memo.
Right.
But you don't hear that from MSNBC or from CNN. So what's their motivation? What makes CNN and MSNBC, what makes them say what they say? And you hit the nail on the head. It's emotional hysteria that you hear from CNN and MSNBC. It has nothing to do with the truth.
Well, at least CNN has had some good Republican congressmen like Jim Jordan, Trey Gowdy, and a fellow by the name of Stewart, and he just undressed those CNN talk show hosts. He just undressed them, giving such strong rationale for what has transpired. But the problem is, they go back to their pin-headed panel, and they are all they're all clueless and tone deaf. So at least CNN has given the other side from time to time. But MSNBC has just been horrible, and it really has.
Well, what really puts things in perspective, you watch these panel discussions, and every one of them has a conservative who can't get a word in edgeways, and they've got a liberal who will not shut up. They talk louder and longer, and they filibuster and try to dominate the entire discussion. What put that in perspective is when I watched a panel discussion called The Wise Guys. It was on Sunday, was when I was in the hospital. It was on Sunday evening, on Fox News, and the panel discussion was Steve Wynn, Bill Bennett, Ollie North, Alan Dershowitz, and Ari, I forgot his last name.
Gary Fleischer.
Yes, but they each took their turns speaking, and they were very polite. They were calm, collected, stated the facts and figures. No loud talking, no interrupting, no rude behavior. Most of these channel discussions, or panel discussions, I should say, they involve at least one or two liberals that are very rude, very interruptive, and that I hate to see that. I get tired of that real quick.
Yeah.
So,
well, you got to give credit to Dershowitz. He's a liberal, but he's been very fair-minded and objective in stating that there's been no real case for obstruction against
that. I do not understand the logic of that. I don't understand the common sense of people who, and I'll have to be honest, my oldest daughter thinks the sun rises and sets in Barack Obama, and she hates Donald Trump. I do not understand it. In fact, the last time she was here visiting, we nearly had a knockdown drag out over that issue. But I don't understand people that think that way. But I'm like Lynn Woolley. I do not understand the workings of the liberal mind. I don't know how their brain works, but apparently their brain is wired a little bit different to other folks, because so much of what they think and do and say doesn't make sense. What is it about Barack Obama that makes you just worship him? Why? What is it about Donald Trump that has built things? He's been very successful. He has accomplished an awful lot, has made billions of dollars, and you want to hold that against him? Why? What has he done that makes you hate Donald Trump? What has Barack Obama done that makes you love him? I do not understand that. I guess I'm kind of thick-headed or something, but I can't figure it out. Someone that's a lot smarter than I am needs to call in and explain that for me. I think we got a caller. Or do we? No, maybe we don't. Okay, I miscued there. Sorry. Well, we've had a really, really good show today, and I really appreciate all the callers and the people who have called in and the things we've had to talk about. This FBI involvement with the DOJ and trying to defeat Donald Trump. Now, let me say that this is not the entire FBI. This is just a few people, but the problem is the few people are the leaders. So it's not the man on the street that hates Donald Trump. It's the leadership. And the leadership is still leading. And that's something else I can't understand. Why are these people still drawing a federal paycheck? Why is that? Why haven't they been kicked out? Donald Trump wants to drain the swamp, and I do agree with that. But that's where he needs to start, is right there. But we, the people, need to do our part to drain the swamp, and the time to drain the swamp for us is in the primary season. If you've got people running for office that are in office and they have proven that they vote more for the liberal causes than do conservative ones, then it's time to drain the swamp, folks. So y'all pay attention, because primary is here. I think we got a caller. Yes, caller, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyway, the reason that the establishment hates Trump is he's not one of them, and that he's not. I don't think he's a conservative or a liberal. I think he's just Donald Trump.
He's just a good businessman.
and I don't know why your daughter doesn't like him, but
Well, I hadn't figured that out yet, Rick, either. But
I guess a lot of people look at him at his roughness around the edges and stuff, and the way he's so blunt sometimes. Whereas Barack Obama comes off as some kind of, I don't know, intellectual, aloof.
One of them.
Dictator type person. He reminds me of one of those dictators basking in the glow of the applause.
Well, talking about my daughter, I'll explain real quick. She lives in Missoula, Montana, and Missoula, Montana is Montana's answer to Berkeley University.
Okay, now about the memo, real quick.
Yes.
This thing doesn't just stink to the top of the FBI. It stinks all the way up to Barack Obama.
Yes.
Because this was going on during the campaign when Trump was the presumptive nominee. And that's when they issued the FISA warrant on that one guy. And FISA is supposed to, only be for foreign agents and spies. And so they really were spying on that one man that was an American and not Russians. And so when Trump said the tower was wiretapped, he may have had the language wrong, but he was essentially right about that.
Yes, he was.
And I think Barack Obama is so smart about his Chicago politics ways that even if he did okay that FISA warrant, he didn't even have to do it officially, because all those people he appointed as judges and things like that, they'd all do what he wants to do anyway. So it's going to be really hard to pin it to Obama.
Well, and, everybody is so desperate to preserve the Obama legacy. What Obama legacy do you want to preserve?
I don't know.
What did he do so great that you want to continue? What are we using for brains, folks?
I guess the best thing he did is gave a bunch of money to those Iranians. I'm sure they really appreciated it.
Yeah.
I'll let you go, Conn.
Hey, thank you for the call, Rick.
You be careful out there. I think we're getting close to the end of this show again. We got another caller here real quick. I think we don't have time to get you. It's about the end of the show, but don't lose the phone number, because we'll be back next Saturday. So call in.
And Laura brought me, thank goodness. And I'm looking at it, and everything in it I have heard on Fox News. And they've been saying the same thing that's in this memo.
Right.
But you don't hear that from MSNBC or from CNN. So what's their motivation? What makes CNN and MSNBC, what makes them say what they say? And you hit the nail on the head. It's emotional hysteria that you hear from CNN and MSNBC. It has nothing to do with the truth.